Now, this is the story that has me fired up tonight. At this hour, President Obama is in Tucson, Arizona. 2 hours from now, he's scheduled to address the nation at a memorial service for the victims of the shooting rampage. This should be a day to set politics aside and focus on the victims. But it all changed this morning when Sarah Palin finally broke her silence. Palin blasted out a rambling 8-minute video, which did very little to address the victims. She spent most of her time attacking the media.
Days reflecting on what happened and praying for guidance. After the shocking tragedy, I listened at first puzzled, then with concern, and now with sadness to the irresponsible statements from people attempting to apportion blame for this terrible event.
Palin is sad about irresponsible statements. You got to be kidding me, folks. She's the queen of irresponsible statements, which even now she refuses to own up to.
It's not a time to retreat. It's a time to reload.
We're not going to back off on our criticism of the problems of the health care bill, and one aspect of it is the death panel.
Our opponent is someone who sees America as imperfect enough to pal around with terrorists.
Instead of showing any leadership or taking any responsibility for her ugly rhetoric or talking about the real victims, Palin used this opportunity this time to play the victim.
No one should be deterred from speaking up and speaking out in peaceful dissent. And we certainly must not be deterred by those who embrace evil and call it good. And we will not be stopped from celebrating the greatness of our country and our foundational freedoms by those who mock its greatness by being intolerant of differing opinion and seeking to muzzle dissent with shrill cries of imagined insults.
Listen, nobody thinks the shooter was following Sarah Palin's orders. I've said that all week, but it's a fact. Palin put crosshairs on Gabby Giffords' district. That's a fact. It's also a fact that Giffords wasn't imagining an insult when she criticized Palin for those crosshairs. Palin was flat out grandstanding with this video today, political grandstanding. Today, when there's a memorial service, she doesn't have the character to say that she regrets anything. Her game plan all along has been very simple. No apology, no toning it down, just attack.
Especially within hours of a tragedy unfolding. Journalists and pundits should not manufacture a blood libel that serves only to incite the very hatred and violence that they purport to condemn. That is reprehensible.
Well, the words blood libel set off a firestorm of controversy. Blood libel is a historical myth, a lie that claimed Jews kidnapped Christian children to use their blood during Passover ceremonies. Simon Greer, the president of the Jewish Funds for Justice, said this today: "We are deeply disturbed by Fox News commentator Sarah Palin's decision to characterize as a blood libel the criticism directed at her following the terrorist attack in Tucson. Unless someone has been accusing Ms. Palin of killing Christian babies and making matzah from their blood, her use of the term is totally out of line." Well, once again, Palin is proving to be nothing more than an unguided missile in the political arena. Many people think she's used the term blood libel as an appeal to an extremist Christian conservative base for 2012. 14,000 people are scheduled to attend the memorial service in Tucson tonight. President Obama is expected to ask Americans to come together to honor the heroes and the fallen. Sarah Palin had to make it about her. I think that is A1 reprehensible. Get your cell phones out, folks. I want to know what you think tonight on this issue. Tonight's text survey question is, do you think Sarah Palin should apologize for her violent rhetoric? Text A for yes, text B for no to 622-639. We'll bring you the results later on in the show. Joining me now is Illinois Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky. Congresswoman, good to have you on tonight on this issue. This has been a very tough day at the Capitol. There's been a great deal of emotion shown by Mr. Boehner, also Nancy Pelosi, and all of you in Congress because of what has happened. Now, this release by Sarah Palin today, how would you characterize it?
Well, you can't imagine how out of step it is with the tone that's being set here in the Congress right now. People going to the floor, both sides of the aisle, and lamenting the loss of life, praying for the victims and especially for Gabby Giffords, talking about our staff that also put themselves in danger. There's a sense of oneness that was also reflected in a wonderful emotional service that we had that ended with a prayer, a benediction by David Saperstein, a rabbi, where we all held hands, and Republicans and Democrats stood together holding hands. And then there's Sarah Palin making it about herself, about feeling defensive, and then accusing people of trying to muzzle her and somehow ruining our democracy by doing so. It was so out of place, such a sour note in the midst of an effort here to really come together. What
are your thoughts, Congresswoman, of her using the term blood libel?
Well, certainly as a Jew, and the Jewish community, the organized community, has spoken out. This is one of the oldest ways to talk about Jews as killing Christian children in order to use their blood to make matzah. Why do you think she did it?
Why do you think she did it?
Frankly, I think she didn't know what she was saying. That's the most charitable thing I can say, is that she had no idea what it really means. But does that mean that we're going to get an apology from her? I doubt it. But it was a fell out of her mouth, or actually I think it was a very planned speech that she made, but she clearly didn't know that blood libel, it's something that goes back to the 12th century, was certainly used during World War II by the Hitler regime to demonize Jews. It was
well, let's just say that she does know what's it mean, and maybe she got some help on the speech from somebody who knows exactly what blood libel means. What kind of light does that shed on this?
Well, then I guess what she would be saying, once again, is that she's a victim of some kind of a vicious assault, the most vicious assaults, raising the specter of the Holocaust and this kind of prejudice. That would be really a terrible thing for her to have done.
Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky, thanks for joining us tonight. I appreciate your time on this program.
Thank you, Ed.
And the President of the United States is going to be visiting the United Medical Center in Arizona tonight. He is going to do that first. He's going to visit with Gabby Giffords, the Congresswoman from Arizona, who is fighting for her life, along with her husband and other victims in the hospital. Joining us now is veteran Democratic strategist and analyst Bob Shrum, professor at New York University. Bob, your thoughts on the release of this tape on this day?
Well, I think she obviously was trying to get political attention. I think to try to make political profit out of this is obscene. And frankly, I think that to invoke the term blood libel, if she knew what it meant, is equally obscene. And if she didn't know what it meant, she should have said to somebody, what is this doing in my text? What's the reference? Do I really want to say this? And her speech was ahistorical and completely wrong over and over again. She accused those who have been critical of her of embracing evil and calling it good. That's exactly what's wrong with the tone of speech in this country and the tone of political debate in this country right now. You can say the other guy's wrong. You can say that they got the facts wrong, they got the policy wrong, but you don't have to and you shouldn't be saying that they're evil. I have some strong disagreements with a number of people, some of them very conservative, some of them good friends. I don't call them evil. I just call them wrong.
Was this an attempt to save the base? Was there some strong messaging here, in your opinion?
Well, she's speaking to the, 15, 20, 22% of people who are really bitter, really angry, who are the core of her support, and who do give her the potential to win the Republican nomination for president. But I'd say that at the end of today, after we listen to the president and after we listen to Sarah Palin, we'll know why he's president and why she never will be.
Do you think some Republicans will question that terminology that she used, blood libel? Should they?
They should. She should apologize for it. They should question it. But I just don't know, because they live in terror of these Tea Party types. I mean, look, Tim Pawlenty came out the other day and said she shouldn't have put the crosshairs on Gabby's congressional district and the congressional district of other members. And then he's been backing down day after day because he's received a lot of blowback from people in the party that he thinks may determine the outcome of the Republican primaries. I hope tonight, and I believe tonight, that President Obama will rise to the occasion, as he does in these really decisive and critical moments, and speak the heart of America.
Jim Clyburn, member of Congress today, told Bill Press on his radio show that Sarah Palin doesn't understand what's going on here and doesn't have the intelligence to understand what's going on here. Either we've got a shortage of intelligence with Sarah Palin, or we've got a real dose of arrogance and insensitivity. Which is it?
I don't know. I mean, look, during the campaign, she was profoundly misinformed. I watched that speech today, and I don't think she wrote it, but she obviously approved it and she gave it. But she has, it seems to me, a very clear plan, and that plan is to consolidate the far-right base and use that far-right base, if she runs for president, to win the Iowa caucuses. She won't win New Hampshire, but she'll leapfrog to South Carolina, win South Carolina, and maybe get that Republican nomination for president. You know, I've said on this show before, Ed, that I endorse her because I think she's a sure loser in the general election. I retract that endorsement because I think that it would be a terrible thing for a great political party, either political party, to nominate someone like that for president of the United States.
Bob Shrum, great to have you with us tonight. Thanks so much.